ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमः ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधरा श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारणं। Hare Krishna. A warm welcome to all of you to today's episode. In the last episode of the Mahabharata, we have seen how Yudhishthira managed to answer all the questions of the Yaksha at the lake of death very satisfactorily. And once Yudhishthira Maharaj had answered all the questions, which covered a wide range of topics from dharma to spirituality to material duties, etc. After all that, the Yaksha informed Yudhishthira Maharaj that he would bring one of his brothers back to life. And he asked Yudhishthira Maharaj to choose which brother he would want to bring back to life. The question was whether Yudhishthira would choose Bhima or Arjuna, because they were the most powerful warriors, and they were the two brothers on whom Yudhishthira Maharaj was entirely dependent upon to win a battle against Duryodhana if it arose, if it was required to get back their kingdom. Without these two, Yudhishthira Maharaj would be really crippled. When the Yaksha asked Yudhishthira Maharaj to choose one of his brothers to bring back to life, Yudhishthira Maharaj responded that please bring back Nakula to life. This was a very surprising thing. The Yaksha was taken aback, and he asked Yudhishthira that everyone knows that Bhima is very dear to you, and he has the strength of thousands of elephants put together, and Arjuna also is a warrior par excellence. Even the Devatas cannot stand in front of him in battle. Instead of choosing one of these two, the Yaksha asked Yudhishthira Maharaj, why have you chosen your stepbrother Nakula? What is the reason? In response, Yudhishthira Maharaj replied, Dharma eva hato hanti, dharmo rakshati rakshitaha. Tasmad dharmam na tyajami. He said, Yudhishthira Maharaj replied to the Yaksha, that you see, whoever neglects dharma or does not follow the path of dharma, he will eventually be vanquished. Dharma eva hato hanti. A person who brings about the downfall of dharma himself will undergo destruction. On the other hand, dharmo rakshati rakshitaha. One who protects dharma will in turn be protected. Tasmad dharmam nyatyajami. Therefore, I will not give up the path of dharma. Now, what does the following of dharma have got to do with bringing back Nakula to life? Yudhishthira Maharaj explained to the Yaksha that his father had two wives, Kunti and Madri. And Yudhishthira Maharaj said, for me, both Kunti and Madri are equal to me. Both of them are my mothers, and I see both of them equally. I am still alive, who am Kunti's son. Now, if only one of my brothers is going to be brought back to life, then let one of the sons of Madri also live. And that is why I have chosen Nakula. And this is according to the rules of Dharma, where kindness is supposed to be practiced by everyone. When Yudhishthira Maharaj replied like this, the Yaksha replied, I am very pleased by your benevolence and by your equanimity, your equal vision towards all your brothers. Therefore, I am bringing back all your brothers back to life. And slowly, all the 4 Pandavas who were lying almost dead on the ground next to Yudhishthira Maharaj, slowly all of them opened their eyes and they got up as if they had just woken up from some deep slumber. And surprisingly enough, they were no longer feeling thirsty and they felt completely refreshed. When Yudhishthira Maharaj saw this, he looked at the Yaksha and he told him, my dear Yaksha, I don't believe you are a normal Yaksha. No normal Yaksha can do what you have done. First of all, to kill my brothers is impossible for any ordinary Yaksha to do. And after killing them, bringing them back to life. This is indeed a real miracle, which only some great Devata can do. So it is hard for me to believe that you are a simple Yaksha. Please, if you feel it appropriate, please kindly reveal yourself. The Yaksha then suddenly transformed into a demigod, bedecked with a lot of golden ornaments and wearing silk clothes and looking very handsome. And the demigod revealed himself to be the Yamaraj, who is also known as Dharmaraja. And he responded to Yudhishthira that, my dear son, please know that I am your father, Yamaraj. And today I have been very pleased with you. I just wanted to test you, and that is how I created this whole situation, and I am very pleased with the way you have reacted. Therefore, being pleased with you, I want to give you some boon. So please ask me whatever you would like to ask. Immediately Yudhishthira Maharaj replied, O my lord, if you want to bless me, kindly give us a boon that Brahmana whose arani sticks were taken away by the deer, his yajna may not be stopped and he should be able to continue his yajna. And then Yamaraj replied to Yudhishthira Maharaj, my dear son, please know that the deer was it was not an ordinary deer, but it was I who took the form of a deer and took away the arani sticks to lure you to this place so that I could test all of you. Therefore, I am immediately granting you the boon that you have requested for, that the Brahmanas arani wood, the wood for the fire sacrifice, I will return. And immediately he returned the firewood to Yudhishthira Maharaj. And after this, Yamaraj asked Yudhishthira Maharaj, my dear son, I am not satisfied with giving you this boon. This is hardly anything. Please ask something more from me. Actually, Yudhishthira Maharaj could have asked Yamaraj for the kingdom, to get back the kingdom that they had lost. But Yudhishthira Maharaj was so fixed in dharma that he saw that at the present moment, to get back that Brahmana's firewood sticks was the most important thing for them. Otherwise, they would not be upholding dharma. And that is why he asked for that. Yudhishthira Maharaj was not so much interested in occupying the throne, having a kingdom and getting back his lost kingdom. I should take revenge upon Duryodhana. Those things were not there in his heart at all. He was always treading the path of dharma, and as far as he was concerned, he was quite happy living in the forest, leading an austere life, wearing tree bark for clothes, devoid of all the royal opulence and servants and all the army and all such things. He was happy as long as he was able to follow the path of dharma. As far as the kingdom was concerned, in due course of time, according to the law of karma, If they had to get back the kingdom, they would get it. If they were not destined to get it, they would not get it back. So Yudhishthira Maharaj was not so keen. He was not so concerned about getting back the kingdom. Now when Yamaraj asked him to ask for one more boon, then Yudhishthira Maharaj replied to him that if you want to grant us one more boon, then please bless us that now our 12th year of forest exile is getting over, and next year, 1 year, we have to live incognito. If you so wish, please bless us that we may be able to carry out this exile in incognito successfully. Immediately, Dharmaraj replied that, so be it, my son, I grant you your boon. In fact, I bless you that even if you roam around in all the prominent cities, dressed in the same way that you are currently as the Pandavas, nobody will be able to recognize you. Even if you go without any disguise, even if you present yourself as you are, nobody will be able to recognize you. This is my boon to you, and therefore I am blessing you that the next 1 year which you have to live incognito, go to the kingdom of Virata and spend your 1 year there. And then Yamaraj said to Yudhishthira Maharaj that I am not satisfied with just giving you 2 more boons. I want to give you 1 more boon. Please ask. To which Yudhishthira Maharaj replied, please bless me that I will always tread the path of dharma, and I will never be overcome by kama, krodha, lobha, mada, moha, matsarya, these 6 enemies which are there in the heart. And I will always be able to tread the path of truthfulness. Yamaraj replied that, my dear Yudhishthira Maharaj, right from your birth, by your very nature, you are always on the path of dharma, you are always truthful, and kama, krodha, lobha, mada, moha and matsarya have no place in your heart. But still, since you are asking, I bless you that you will continue to be free from these vices. And so, being blessed by Yamaraj like this, the Pandavas became very happy, and then Yamaraj also disappeared from the spot. Then, taking the Brahmanas' Arani firewood, the 5 Pandava brothers, they returned, and they handed over the firewood to the Brahmana, and they continued to live in the forest for the next 4 months, which were the rainy season. Generally in North India, the months starting from July up till about September, these 4 months are the rainy season. And during the rainy season, during those days, the practice was that people would not travel anywhere, they will stay wherever they are to avoid the troubles of walking through muddy patches of land. And also the rainy season is the time when the forests become infested with snakes, etc. It's not safe also to travel during that time. So the Pandavas stayed in the Dvaitavana itself for the remainder of the rainy season. And once the rainy season was over, the Pandavas started discussing amongst themselves that now the time has come that we have to live incognito. Now, where do we go? After discussing various options, they decided that as per what Yamaraj had blessed them with, they should go to the place known as Virata Nagara. This Virata Nagara was so called because it was being ruled over by King Virata, and the kingdom was also known as the kingdom of Matsya. And this Matsya kingdom, some people say that it is in Rajasthan, and Viratnagar is about 60 kilometers from Jaipur. Some other people say it is a place called Bairhat in Bengal. Either way, it was quite a distance from wherever the Pandavas were there, and they undertook a long journey by foot to cover the distance. Before leaving for Virat Nagara, the Pandavas, they sent whatever servants and maid servants they had, they sent them all back to Hastinapura, and they requested Dhaumya also to, Dhaumya was their family priest who was staying with them. They requested leave from him also, and the Pandavas left all on their own to Viratanagara. Having reached Viratanagara, the Pandavas started discussing amongst themselves how they would disguise themselves and what they would present themselves as. Although Yamaraj had blessed them that even if they were to walk around as it was, as they were, nobody would recognize them. Still they thought it better to disguise themselves. Yudhishthira Maharaj told his brothers that I will become Kanka and I will become an advisor to Virat Maharaj. I will introduce myself to Virat Maharaj, saying that I used to be an advisor in Yudhishthira Maharaj's court, and now that Yudhishthira Maharaj and the Pandavas are in forest exile, I don't have a job, so I have come seeking a job with you. Then he looked at Bhima and he said, what will you do? Bhima said, I am very good in cooking. I will go to Virat Maharaj and I will tell him I was a cook in Yudhishthira Maharaj's kitchen, and I also know a little bit of wrestling. So please appoint me as a cook in your kitchen and I will make wonderful dishes for you. And also whenever some free time is there, I will wrestle some lions and elephants and all that, and I will keep you entertained. Next, Yudhishthira Maharaj turned to Arjuna and asked him, my dear Arjuna, what will you present yourself as? At that time, Arjuna remembered when he had been to the heavenly kingdom on the invitation of Indra, Urvashi had approached him, but on the plea that Urvashi was the wife of one of the ancestors of Arjuna's dynasty, the king Pururava, whose wife was Urvashi, Arjuna said, you are like my mother and therefore I cannot see you in any other manner. And being rebuffed like this, Urvashi, being frustrated in her advances towards Arjuna, she cursed him that for 1 year he will have to become a eunuch. Now Arjuna remembered that curse of Urvashi, and he said, I will, now is the time for Urvashi's curse to take place. I will become a eunuch, and because I know good music and dancing, I will teach all the women folk in Virat Maharaj's palace all the different forms of singing and dance. So the brothers were surprised to hear this. Arjuna, the great warrior, he is going to become a eunuch for 1 year. Anyway, this is all destiny. The Lord's Leelas are like this. Then Yudhishthira Maharaj turned to Sahadeva and asked him, what will you do? Sahadeva replied, I will become a cowherd by the name Tantripala, and I will take care of the cows in Virat Maharaj's palace. And then Nakula said that I will become Granthika, a person who takes care of horses, because Nakula was very expert in identifying horses, taking care of them, breeding them, etc. And therefore Nakula said, I will take a place in the stable of Virat Maharaj. Having discussed like this, all the Pandavas decided that okay, now we know what all we will become, and so therefore now what to do with all our weapons. If the cook Bhima, who is going to be the cook named Vallabha, if he is going to go with his gada into the assembly, then nobody will believe that he is a cook. And if Arjuna goes with his Gandiva and says I am a eunuch, nobody is going to believe him. Therefore, all the Pandavas wrapped up all their weapons in a nice piece of cloth, completely covered it up. And when they approached Virat Nagar, at the entry to the Virat Nagara, they came across a big crematorium. And outside the crematorium was a big shami tree. They climbed onto the shami tree, and on the top of the shami tree, they kept all the packed weapons, and they left the place. Some people were there who were coming to the crematorium. They came across some people and they told them, in our custom, we all dead bodies we cover in cloth and keep it on top of the shami tree so that the soul goes to heaven. And our mother recently passed away, so we have put her corpse, we have covered it in a cloth and kept it on the top. When the people heard, they said, oh my God, corpse up there, we should not touch it. And this way the Pandavas thought, nobody will touch those. Nobody will become curious enough to go and unpack those weapons. The first day, Yudhishthira Maharaj entered the court of Virat Maharaj, and he introduced himself as Kanka, and he told the king that he had been an advisor in the court of Yudhishthira Maharaj. And when Virata Maharaj heard this, Virata was actually a great friend of the Pandavas. When he heard that this Kanka had been an advisor in Yudhishthira Maharaj's palace, he very warmly welcomed Kanka, and he told him, please welcome, please be a advisor to me also. I don't know how the Pandavas are living in the forest. It is a very unfortunate situation. I hope very quickly that gets over. He was also feeling a little bad about that. The following day, Bhima entered the court of Virata Raja, and he introduced himself as Vallabha, the cook, and he told the king that please appoint me in your kitchen. I used to cook in Yudhishthira Maharaj's kitchen, and I know a variety of dishes, and every day I will cook very fine dishes for you. The king was very pleased to see this huge able-bodied cook, and he said, okay, since you are coming from Yudhishthira Maharaj's kitchen, you must definitely be a good cook, so right away I am appointing you. The next day, Draupadi entered the kingdom, and she approached the king Virata's wife Sudeshna, and she introduced herself as a class of maid servants known as Sairindri, and she informed Sudeshna that she had been earlier a servant of Draupadi as well as Satyabhama, and she had now that Draupadi had gone into the forest in exile, she had lost her job and she was looking for a job, and that's how she had come to meet Sudeshna seeking an employment. Sudeshna, when she looked at this woman, she saw that she was extremely exquisitely beautiful. She told her that if you have served Satyabhama, Krishna's wife, and Draupadi, definitely you must be very qualified. I will be very happy to have you with me. But seeing your beauty, I am very afraid that the king may get carried away, and he may think of making you the queen. Then what will become of me? Then this Sairindri maid servant replied to Sudeshna that please do not worry. I am married to 5 Gandharva husbands, and I am completely devoted and chaste to my husbands. I will never look at any other man. As far as you are concerned, you protect me from other men. I will be only with you. I don't want to be in any place where the men will be able to see me. When Sudeshna heard this, she said, okay, in that case, I am quite pacified that you will not try to woo my husband and take over my place. Then I am willing to appoint you as a maid servant in my palace. And then Draupadi told Sudeshna, 2 conditions I want to put before you. One is that you will not make me wash anybody's feet, and I will not eat any leftover food. Sudeshna immediately agreed. She said, no problem. I will ensure that you get the best food and you won't have to wash anybody's feet. The next day, Arjuna walked into the court of Virataraj, and everyone was astonished to see this huge bodied man dressed in a sari and hands full of bangles and walking like a woman, although he externally it was obvious that it was a man. And the king Virata was also astonished, and he asked, who are you, where have you come from, and why have you come to my court? Then this Brihannala, this eunuch, introduced herself, saying that my name is Brihannala, I am a eunuch and I have no parents. I know the art of singing and dance. So I am requesting you, please appoint me to teach the art of dancing and singing to your daughter Uttara. The king Virata also looked at Brihannala, and then he said that if you are truly a eunuch, I don't mind appointing you. And so he had a few maid servants from his palace inspect Brihannala. They took away Brihannala for some time, and they came back and they reported to the king that we have tested him. He is clearly a eunuch. He is not a male. Then Virata Maharaj was also happy to appoint Brihannala as a teacher of dance and singing for his daughter Uttara. And because of Urvashi's curse, Arjuna, in the form of Brihannala, felt no lusty desires awakening in his heart even when he was in the midst of all the women folk in the palace. The next day, Sahadeva entered the cowshed of Virata Maharaj, and he approached the king Virata, saying that he would like to be appointed as a cowherd. And the king Virata had 1 lakh cows in his cowshed, and he was very glad to appoint Sahadeva. And the day after that, finally, Nakula entered the stable of the king Virata, and King Virata happened to see Nakula in his horse stable. And when he started inquiring from him, Nakula said that he had been earlier serving in the stable of Yudhishthira Maharaj, and so now he was seeking employment. And Virat Maharaj was very happy. Oh, one more person from Yudhishthira's palace has come here. Very, very nice. So you are welcome. And he appointed him also. And like this, all the 5 brothers and their wife managed to enter undetected into the kingdom of Virata Maharaj, and they positioned themselves as different ordinary servants. Now, how did the 1 year of their incognito life in Virata go, and how were they successful in maintaining their disguises for the whole period of 1 year, which was agreed upon in the game of dice? Please join us in the next episode to know about this. Thank you for joining us today. Hare Krishna. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol.